So hello guys, what I'm going to do today is that I'm going to analyze a particular thing that is going on in the place, and through that analysis I'm going to give a very special message to a very specific group of people, and I'm going to do that in light of US politics. Now, talking about US politics, I have a thing in my mind to do a full discussion about US politics over Zoom with a guest speaker, and I will upload that to my YouTube as soon as it is done after finding a guest speaker, okay? But this time it is not about any of that. This time it is about myself trying to convince this special group of people about the message that I have for them. So who are the people that I'm talking about, and what is the message? Okay, the people that I'm talking about are the people that actually fight against discrimination, the people that fight against inequality, the people that actually vocalize for minorities that are thrusted by the supremacy of certain groups, right? And the thing that I want to tell them is that I want to tell them not to give up their fight, not to lower down the intensity of their fight, not to lower down the intensity of the aggression in terms of attitude in their fight, because their fight matters a lot inside the context of this world. I'm going to show them how much it matters, right? And I'm going to show them if you stop your fight, detriments will start to occur once again, okay? And I'm going to do that in light of US politics. Now, talking about US politics, the recent thing that happened in the United States was the presidential election, okay? Now, we all know what happened there. The Democrats candidate, Joe Biden, earned a landslide victory over Donald Trump as he won 309 electoral votes, as per my memory, contrary to the 232 electoral votes that Republicans were able to pull off. It was a landslide victory, especially comparing to what we had back in 2016, where Donald Trump actually won a landslide victory over Hillary Clinton. So many experts try to give different sort of reasonings as to why this particular change of administration happened inside the White House of the United States, and myself have some general reasons as to why this particular thing happened. And in light of those things, I'm going to show you why you should never give up your fight, okay? Now, before we go into that, we need to understand racism was something that really turned the tables against the head of Donald Trump, okay? Racism never worked in his favor. We at times called him a racist. But what is very important to know is that, yes, we can accuse Donald Trump for probably triggering racism and being negligent as a leader, but we cannot blame him for creating those problems. Why? Because he never created those problems. If we talk about racism in the United States, we basically talk about the difference between white and black people, right? This problem was not created by Donald Trump. This problem existed long before. If you go back decades and centuries, this problem was at its peak during colonization. So this problem existed way back. So it was not a creation of Donald Trump. We can accuse him for being negligent or probably triggering with his radical tweets, but we cannot accuse him for creating them because he was not the creator. So what's important to know is that the president-elect, the one who will obtain office starting from January 2021, has a political career that spans over 48 years, almost 50 years, almost 5 decades in the political field. And within those 50 years of his political field, he was once a senator, he was once a vice president, he was once a voice in the opposition. So it is true that Joe Biden had certain authorities in different times of his political career to take such decisions, but he and his parties were never able to actually completely get rid of these problems. If he were able, he talks a lot high about President Barack Obama, who was his president when he was holding the office of vice presidency, right? He was a black person. Now, everyone thought Barack Obama was about to stop this particular racism issue once and for all because he's a black person, so he should know the suffering of black people. But he never stopped it. If he completely got rid of that problem, this particular problem or controversy would never come back again. If you completely take down a particular problem, it can't come back again, right? So why it came back was because Barack Obama was also unable to get rid of that particular problem completely. You can actually credit them for trying to get rid of those problems, but you cannot actually give them the credit for ending those problems because no one actually ended those problems. Now, what is important to know is that, yes, Joe Biden, you can forgive him because he was never the president. So if the president was unable to do that, you cannot actually expect the vice president to do that. But what is important to know is that you cannot give Joe Biden a free pass saying, okay, our angel is in the office. Donald Trump, the devil is out. Democrats are in. So the problem is over. If you think like that, this problem will never end. Now, let me talk about it. Okay, now, this particular thing started with Black Lives Matter allegations, right? This thing actually started to trigger with Black Lives Matter allegations. Those riots and chaotic, protests and everything around the streets of the United States, it acted against the head of Donald Trump. Now, if you monitor this particular problem really carefully, you might be able to see that the people who actually rioted and protested in the streets of the United States really did not like their president Donald Trump. If you just read the placards that they carried in their riots, they did not read out a lot of good things about Donald Trump. They actually called Donald Trump a racist, and they said Donald Trump should be fired from the White House. Joe Biden actually saw these things. Joe Biden saw what's going on with these people, and he saw that these people are holding a grudge against the President Donald Trump. And he used that to his advantage in the political campaign. I mean, if you look at the political campaign of the Democrats, Joe Biden was talking about the case of George Floyd so highly. He was at times emotional talking about the problems of black people, right? So it became a major criteria in his political campaign. So what is important to know in this particular phase, or in this particular criteria, is that Joe Biden became an anti-racist person, a black-friendly person for a particular reason. Now, let me tell you something funny. Donald Trump is not the only politician who's been called out as a person who is not so friendly to black people. Joe Biden also was once called as a person who is not so friendly to black people. If you just listen to certain allegations and claims by the Republicans claim that Joe Biden once called black people predators or something, right? Predators or something. So that person becoming emotional over a particular problem of black people, it is a major change of chemistry. Now, someone might mock him for actually changing moods with time. But I won't mock him, because at times a person can be racist. What matters is that you understand the fault with your vision and changing that at a later time or at a later stage of your political career. And that's what exactly happened with Joe Biden. But what's important to know is that something important changed that particular mood of Joe Biden to be a black-friendly person. And that is exactly the Black Lives Matter allegations, right? It is exactly the protest and the riot that caused it. He understood that this riot has the potential to change the administration of the United States. So if I use this to my advantage, I might become the president of this particular country in another couple of months. That is exactly what happened. He knew and he understood the potential of this fight. So he understood that this is a burden. This is a burden that is created on the shoulders of a president, right? So he understood the potential of that. That is the most important thing. As fighters, understanding, or rather making the president or the leader of the country understand the potential of your fight is the biggest victory that you can earn, because the decision should come from those authoritative figures like president, right? So the president-elect understanding the potential of your fight is the biggest victory. So that's why I say you should not stop your fight. Now, if you stop your fight, the particular change of mood will only be permitted and boundary to the election campaign itself. But if you want that to perceive and continue throughout the 4 years of tenureship to come under the administration of Joe Biden, you need to keep fighting. Joe Biden felt that this particular thing has a burden, and that's why he used it to his advantage. That burden was on his shoulders when he was debating Donald Trump in front of media and in front of people, when he talked about the people and racism, right? But if you want him to continue holding that particular burden on his shoulders, you need to keep fighting. If you give up your fight, he might think, okay, my ticket is now in. I have the ticket to get into the White House. People are silent. That means people do not feel any sort of a problem in terms of racism under my administration. Therefore, I don't have to do anything special and significant, right? So if you stop your fight, you are letting things go away. Your fight made an important decision, important change in the administration of the United States. And if you want that particular change to continue for the good of you, you need to keep fighting. Now, if we talk about other problems, now let's keep the black people's problem aside. If we talk about women, there is a lot of inequality talks revolving around the issue of women right now. There are lots of feminist movements and lots of feminist fighters who are actually talking about the rights of women. Now, there is a significant case, Roe v. Wade, in the United States Supreme Court history, that laid out a very interesting law in regards to abortion, right? That case legalized abortion in the United States, right? Republicans literally calls abortion as killing children. So Donald Trump wanted during his campaign to overturn the decision of Roe v. Wade in order to adjust legislation of the United States so as to illegalize abortion. Now, abortion is something that establish the bodily autonomy and integrity of women, right? So women consider abortion to be a right. Now, when your president comes in and says, we are going to make this right no more, or rather we are going to make legislation so as we will make this right illegal, then definitely the women are going to hold a grudge against the president, right? That is exactly what happened. So therefore, all the feminist movements that actually talked against this particular change of law bashed Donald Trump, and they actually crushed Donald Trump in their speeches. Joe Biden saw this. Joe Biden saw this, and he said abortion is a right. In that particular debate, he was talking about abortion for around 5 minutes, which is significant because we've never seen that before. We've never seen presidents actually talking about abortion for that long. Joe Biden talked about it, or at least the moderator Chris actually asked that from Joe Biden, because Joe Biden was using this particular ground in his election campaign. Now, what made Joe Biden a woman-friendly person? It is the feminist movement that created a pressure. He understood that the feminist movement that was happening in the United States had the potential to change administrations, has the potential to change regimes. So that's why he understood it as a burden that is existing on the shoulders of a president. So the victory that the feminists earn in that particular region of the United States is the fact that the president-elect understood the potential of your fight. So under such circumstances, if you give up your fight, that means you are going to give up your victory by seeing your victory very close, right? So that's why I say you should keep fighting. Keep fighting so as Joe Biden will feel that particular burden existing throughout the 4 years of his tenureship. Otherwise, if you give up thinking, oh my goodness, the Democrats are in, Republicans are out, so it is time for us to actually live in freedom, the thing will persist, the thing will continue, and the thing won't stop. So that's why I'm saying don't stop the fight, keep fighting, okay? It's the same thing with Hispanics as well. Now, Donald Trump, he wanted to actually build a wall separating Mexico and the United States of America. Now, lots of Hispanics and Latinas actually got offended by this particular vision of Donald Trump. Yes, you need to find solutions for illegal immigrants, but building a wall is actually very harsh and is a disrespect to that particular race of people. So therefore, those people took this particular issue in the face of racism. What Joe Biden did is that he started to talk for Latinas. What happened as a result was Arizona, which is a Republican stronghold, just got flipped from red to blue by the Latina population in Arizona. The 30% of Latina population in Arizona went in and voted blue for Joe Biden. Thus, they flipped the state of Arizona in favor of Democrats. 11 electoral votes in Arizona, which is a high number of electoral votes. So what happened is that Joe Biden understood that this person's actions are leading to certain inequalities, right? A particular group of people are getting offended by that. And their voice is so clear that they are not holding a very good opinion and a perception on their president. And Joe Biden actually understood this particular problem, and he actually made it a criteria in his election campaign. Thus, he decided to talk and vocalize for those trusted people, therefore to get their votes. But if you give up your fight, that means he only did it for the votes. If you want that change to happen throughout the 4 years, you need to keep fighting. You need to keep fighting and show him, okay, you understood at one point of your career, Mr. President, that our fight has the potential to change administration. If you do not bring an end to this particular inequality, you are next. That is the particular statement that you need to give as fighters, and that's why you should never ever stop your fight. So as my school says, never mind a knock or two, but never fear the fight. I would like to add something to this. Never give up the fight. Thank you.